It's pretty convenient. It one-shots the guards. And it opens up some interesting routing opportunities around the Eastern Palace once you're out of the castle.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, worst case scenario, you're going to complete Pendant Eastern, right? So I think you're not going to feel the worst for that. And I mean, it's like almost the only weapon. I mean, an early hammer is always great, of course, you know. You get that out of the way. But that seems less common for some reason.
Yeah, hammer is tons of damage, slightly harder to use, but you like seeing it early. And if you see it early, that means you're not getting one of those seeds where it's just super deep in the logic or in some super silly location.
Okay, and we see a fish.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen the fish right before. Looks kind of cool though, just flopping around there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Shady has proved this tournament that he doesn't mind using some of the more strange or weird sprites, such Invisible Link or whatever. And on Mclagging sense, we're going to see the classic Dark Link.
And hey,
there it is.
So 30 arrows, plenty to try to farm some bombs off guards with, see what price pack they're in, but that rupee, we're not getting bombs off guards. Are getting the refill though.
It's nice now. I mean, it shouldn't happen, especially at this stage of the tournament, but sometimes, especially when you're trying to farm bombs, enemies can get trolleys and arrows sometimes go down.
Yep. Although in this case, we're not going to see any bombs unless we get some out of a chest. We're not seeing them until the rats in the sewers at a minimum. So I'm expecting both of these runners to keep plenty of arrows on hand for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, we didn't see as much, probably because of the fish, but well, we did see powder at Link's house, so that's kind of nice for logic purposes, and it's a nice safety, of course.
Yep, very convenient to have that, especially when you start getting into the Dark World dungeons where anti-fairies just tend to be everywhere. But even now, if we do get that early hammer you were talking about, that's one extra checking Kakariko these runners can get.
Yeah, for sure, and that's when that magic in Uncle on the back of the escape can get really important, even though that's more of an issue in open than in standard, and well.
Oh yeah, in open mode, there just is no magic to be had if you don't go for an Uncle start. But both of those runners got the magic pots by the Uncle here. I think keeping that in mind at least a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. In standard, it's a given, and sometimes in open, I feel like it's one of the bigger reasons to start in Uncle, just making sure you have magic just in case.
Yeah, Uncle routing in open is a surprisingly divisive topic. Some people swear by it, some people just never do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, imagine playing open right now. It seems so strange. So much standard.
Yep, because we're keeping the same mode for the whole tournament here. I'm sure a lot of viewers have already seen several matches here, and yeah, we're not changing the format for the bracket stage. We didn't change it from the group stage. And it's kind of a departure from past tournaments where we've had variable modes mid-tournament. We decided to just keep it on this one for the entire thing.
Yeah, I like it as well as the hard item pool, as you already previously mentioned before. It does favor, as it was intended, like solid routing and execution, and I think it's making the matches pretty exciting.
Yep. For those who may not have seen as many matches, may not know, hard item pool means that we're not going to be seeing a variety of things. You're not going to be seeing hearts past 14 total, which is, what is that, 16 heart pieces and 7 containers, I believe? And then we're not going to be seeing swords past tempered. We're not going to be seeing silver arrows. We're not going to be seeing shields past the fire shield, so no mirror shield. Not going to be seeing armor upgrades at all. But all of those items are still in the item pool, are placed by the randomizer. They just turn into green 20s when you pick them up. So I'm sure we'll see the first of those probably not that far from now as we get into the seed, since we've already got a bow.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have 2 bows still, of course, placed in logic, even though it's not gonna have anything to... Oh, and we see a power glove there. That's really nice, especially if we don't get bombs inside of escape.
Yep, I don't think either runner has killed any of these rats yet to try to learn what they drop, but with the gloves in hand, there's a very strong case to be made for just not even bothering.
Yeah, and Shady not getting any drops. This is probably one of the only things I really don't like that much of Standard, that sometimes the RNG with the drops really can favor one runner or another. Like sometimes we see 5 or 6 kills with no drops and all, and it really feels terrible.
Yeah, because drops are a 50-50, although I don't think I've seen any drops off any of the rats that have been killed on either side here, which is... Okay, there's a heart for Shady. I think that was the first drop. Yeah, not even going to bother trying, and that's just... When you kill an enemy normally, it's 50-50. And
yeah, with the heart, I think it could be like the best price pack with the fairy and the full magic and everything, but I mean, it can take a longer time at that point, and you already have the glove.
yeah, and with the bombs here in the Sanctuary chest, I wonder if Shady's just gonna... Yeah, he's taking a straight ride out of here. He's gonna just go get those chests and then save and quit out, and then probably go to Kakariko from there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I was gonna say for sure you get it out of the way now, but Shady doesn't agree, it appears.
It looks like that's not the so-called variety pack, the best pack there, because we did see Mclagging get a second heart drop off one of the rats that his mom killed. With 2 items and a map back there. It's not something he'll have to do later. It does mean he'll be slightly slower to Kakariko now, but Shadyforce will be given that time right back whenever he decides to go.
Yeah, so question, Reg. Can Shady turn himself in to the bottle merchant?
That would be kind of interesting. Bottle Merchant gives you a lot of stuff if you throw a fish at him, and you never see it outside of Randomizer. Which kind of makes me sad, because it's kind of cool, but it takes forever to just lug a fish from literally anywhere else. But yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and we have seen pendants, DP, and Eastern.
I thought it was Pendant Eastern and then a 5-6 crystal at Hera and a regular at Desert, but I might have not seen that correctly. We do have a Moon Pearl there in the mushroom spot, and we're seeing a bottle in the Lumberjack. We saw that on Shadyforce's side a bit earlier. Mclagging also getting that info. Actually,
Yeah,
both
with
runners...
those...
Sorry, go on.
No, as soon as with those 50 rupees, yeah, both runners are going to be more than fine with money on Kakariko.
Yeah, because there's plenty to be had in Blind's hideout and the back of the well, but I do find it a bit interesting that both runners opted to check the Lumberjack. It's been a very popular skip this tournament, unless you get those rare seeds with the boots in the castle area.
Yeah, especially already having like probably rupees and bombs, but I think they're just like both at game 1, and they're probably trying to at least start it safe, I feel.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. They came out of the castle, the sanctuary, with 3 bombs in hand. Mclagging only with 2 because of his decision to go to the back of the sewers. And they came out with very little cash as well. So I really do. I like the Lumberjack check there, even though it's a bit slow. You get that information, and you get all those extra chances at bush crabs and tree poles if they turn out to be valuable.
Yeah, for sure. It's not much of a time loss, and we do get mostly 300 rupees in here, so at least we're not going to be very short in rupees.
Yep. Good shape overall for the village checks here, especially if we can pull a couple extra bombs out, and there they are.
Yeah, nice.
So
I wonder if both will take the same route now, after finishing the Kakariko route? Probably a south play?
I think so, yeah, because we don't really have anything in Kakariko through the first 10 checks of it that point us anywhere, really. Like, the only item we've pulled is the Moon Pearl out of the Lost Woods, and then there was a Quake Medallion in the well that just does nothing for us now.
Yeah, I mean, you could opt to just get Eastern out of the way, but...
Yeah, it is Pendant Eastern, so we do have the map check there again. I did see the Red Crystal Desert, the regular Crystal Hera that was missed before, so that
Yeah.
does confirm that. But yeah, Pendant Eastern is just always an interesting thing in my book, because without a fire source, the bow doesn't actually point towards it. But at the same time, it's Pendant Eastern. Who cares if you can kill the boss or not? It's 6 items in that region. It's not necessarily a bad play. It's a very aggressive one because if you do it and it turns out to be nothing, then you just sunk a lot of time. But it's a very potentially high value play if it pays off.
Yeah, and you could even, like, I mean, it's probably a time loss. Oh, and we see a shovel there. So uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's really difficult to justify not going back for it, especially here, because you can just walk it over to the dig spot and then walk down to the dam from there if you want. And we also saw a half magic in the library, I believe, that Mclagging's about to double confirm for us. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I don't actually think we'll see that one picked up, though, unless we're looking at, like, Master Sword Ganon with no lamp available.
Yeah, unless we are, like, in a situation of being pretty early in Smith with mirror and something and low percent, maybe something like that. But yeah, I doubt it. And I don't know, maybe at this point, I mean, it's not the most optimal play, but you could maybe make a point for doing a hooligan play right now and just making sure you have the Sora money, as you can go to the south route and then go into Sora. You do have the Moon Pearl to do the ferry, and you even have bow and arrows if you need to get the Sora Let's item. So Sora is fully completable and could be an option.
Yeah, that's... Okay, Hammer there is interesting. Do you turn back and do the magic bat and then save and quit from there? Or do you keep going to the dam?
Well, or you can even go to the Dark World and just go to Thieves Town.
Oh,
We do
yeah,
have Dark World access, yeah.
That it was the third part of Dark World access, you're right. We've got tons of options here. It's impressive. Although I do think... I do like the South Shore play you mentioned, even with the Dark World access. Looks like SpeedGaming wants Hype Cave, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point, if you skip the south, it's gonna get more than comfortable as time goes. You could make, like, just, okay, map check. Wow.
It's Green Pendant Swamp, Pendant Thieves Town, and then the other 5-6 at Turtle Rock. Pendant Thieves Town always feels a little bad to me, just because that dungeon, you always just kind of want to do it. But at the same time, if it's a pendant, yeah.
Yeah, and Pod is fully completable, even if not in logic. I mean, it's not really comfortable with no fire, no sword, only 5 hearts.
But that cane and that hook shot in Hype Cave is interesting. That hook shot could actually come into play if these guys wanted to go up the mountain in the dark, which is very reasonable, I think. But it looks like we're not choosing Pod here on SpeedGaming's side. Mclagging has not chosen the Dark World at all. He's sticking to the South Shore route.
Yeah, and thanks to Willard for that raid. Welcome to the first game of this series between SpeedGaming and Mclagging in the first round of the tournament. And yeah, we have a fish.
Yep, we've got a fish and we've got the roughly 10-minute Dark World access here.
Yeah, and personally, I don't really like to play these seeds this much. I mean, you have so many options, so many poor choices to be made, and only one potentially good one.
Yeah, I like to just think about it in seeds like this. There's no good or bad choices as long as you're constantly clearing. As long as you keep making checks and you're being at least somewhat efficient about it. You could argue that there is better or worse, but a lot of that's not going to really come without the benefit of hindsight, which kind of makes it pointless to discuss. unless you're clearly doing something really inefficient.
Yeah, and Mclagging did get the Zora money, so if they do decide, they could do Zora after the South. Fully completed. And Shady's going to back of escape now, which he did leave behind.
Yeah, we did see this from Mclagging immediately out of the sanctuary there. And we did see it was nothing of note. So, Shadyforce just giving the time back that Mclagging already gave here. No real gain or loss to be had. No fake flipper play from Mclagging, though. Guess he wants the Dark World more than he wants those slow, out-of-logic checks.
Yeah, we're probably gonna see Hype Cave by Mclagging and Shady. Yeah, Shady going to do the South route now, I think.
Yeah, for him, I think this is really, unless he wants to go to the Village of Outcasts and do Pendant Thieves Town, I think this is his most efficient play. Because Dam, Mini Moldorm Cave, even Ice Rod Cave into Zora if he wants to continue all the way there. That's a lot of items. The other alternative, I think, which again, out of logic, would be Death Mountain. With the hookshot in hand and the hammer, we can get everywhere on the Light World Mountain except the top of Spectacle Rock.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, we could wait for the Titan mids to do all of it, but yeah, Crystal Hera does sound like a really nice option, and I don't know, I think like Era, the long way with hammer and hookshot, like always has a mirror, so that would be nice.
Yeah, Mirror would be a great find for either of these runners right now, just to give them that little bit more efficiency on their routes with the entire world opened up to them as it is.
And well, Mclagging going to the pyramid and maybe going for the other play, like the potentially most optimal one, which would be pod, but again, it could be risky with this equipment.
Yeah, with no fire at all, it really just comes down to how confident are you with those dark rooms. If you are, then definitely go for it. If you can pull an edge out of there and your opponent tries to hold off for fire or whatever, then that's suddenly just a big advantage for you.
Yeah, I mean the Quake could help again if we had a sword. I feel like yeah, at this point, like the sword would probably be like the aside of a lamp, of course, the item that would make you feel more safe. But Mclagging going to catfish for now.
This is a check that very few people will aggressively do early, so getting it out of the way, I always like it. Just get it out of mind, make sure that your opponent doesn't do it and burn you by it having something. And then he can save and quit. He can go to Village of Outcast if he wants to. He can go to Pod if he wants. Really, wherever.
Yeah, and he does have like hammer and glove for good access to pod, so it's not like he's going to have to come back the long way. But I don't know, maybe trying to get it like together with Sora or later with the North round. I don't know, like it's the bad thing about Pendant Thieves for sure. I mean, it's just such an uncomfortable play to make, but you have right now like 7 items, Schoolwoods, and a ton of items around there.
Yeah. Even with Pendant Thieves, it's very, very popular to do the first 4 checks to that dungeon, which are super fast, and then just leave the back of the dungeon until you get funneled back in there. But it doesn't really feel good to go to the village area at all for Pendant Thieves Town, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if they go to Schoolwoods first, they will only have left like Thieves Town and Pod. So at that point, I'm not sure if you do go inside. Oh, well, Mclagging going to the mountain out of logic, as you were saying before, which feels like a really good play as well.
Yeah, I think I like this play more than the Village of Outcast play right now, actually. Like, even if you don't find something like the mitts up here to let you finish the dark side of the mountain as well, you're still getting that save and quit point. You're still going to get your Tower of Hera Crystal. And you're just in a pretty good shape overall because this is a lot of items that could be put in logic by either the flute or the lamp. And we're going to at least guaranteed need the flute this seed to get to Mire, so any hint about that is nice. Is Shadyforce picks up a green 20. That looks suspiciously like a bow.
Yep. 20 rupees for 500 are very nice for sure. With the fish water walking to the waterfall. And yeah, I mean, I think like the only potentially dangerous thing for Mclagging right now would be like if the lamp is in Thieves Town and it what puts the mountain in logic, maybe basement of Hera, which the game assumed we would do. I mean, it's very remote possibility, but I don't know.
Yeah, that is the one place on the mountain that having no fire can really hurt you. Like, we've got the hook shot for the Hera pot trick, if it turns out the big key is in the basement there. But if we do that, then we cannot check the big chest still because can't get that big key to do it. We just skip the big door. But if there's nothing down there, then it doesn't really matter. We're not that hurt by it. But it could just bite us and make us come back later if we just go at it too aggressively here.
Yeah, and Shady looking like going into Eastern, maybe pot?
Yeah,
Eastern.
yeah, it's going to be Eastern first here. I would not be surprised to see him walk down to the flute spot afterwards in Dupod, but Mclagging just pulled a sword out of Paradox Cave and still has 5 checks there.
Yeah, and that sword, first sword, always gonna be nice for sure. Like at this point, I think with the Quake and the sword, you do feel a little bit better about that pot play.
Yeah, if you're having to do that turtle room on the way to the boss without any fire, Medallion's going to help a surprising amount. But that sword was the only real value to be had in Paradox Cave there.
Okay, nothing on the island, nothing on the right chest of EP. And yeah, let's see something. A book somewhere around maybe could be potentially be a bit terrible for Mclagging if we don't get the mirror early.
Yeah, if the book is here in Tower of Hera, he can at least check it. But if it's anywhere else, yeah, he's leaving that tablet behind, and he's probably not going back to it for a while at least.
Yeah, an error is gonna be completable for sure, so that's nice.
Yep, so the only outstanding question, is there an item in the basement that we're going to be forced to leave behind because we don't have fire, but a piece of heart in that chest is a good sign because that reduces the chances pretty greatly.
Yeah, and Chad pointing out a great point that maybe Shady realized at the last second he didn't have pot money, and that's why he went into Eastern, maybe trying to get some money in Saha even. But yeah, at least he will have the money now.
Yeah, he did only have 97 rupees when he went into the dungeon, 90 or so. Got a green 20 in Eastern there, so that's something at least. It put him over the 110 threshold for Palace of Darkness. Mclagging pulls the 10 bomb pack there, so no items in Hera basement, no concern about the fire there.
Yeah, that feels great right now for sure. Let's see, bumper skip.
Yeah. And Shady not doing that great with the anti-fairy skip, but him taking the death warp immediately afterwards makes me think it was just entirely intentional on his part to take that damage. Because, yeah, he got all the items out of Eastern, and he's walking out. He wants pot, it looks like. So, yeah, I think good call on his rupee count. That's not even something I noticed when he was walking up there.
Yeah, I mean, we do have to assume the 3 items were found, yeah. So that's nice at least, and it was quick. We didn't lose any time having to kill Armos. And let's see, let's hope that Shady doesn't have any problems in pod. I mean, he probably shouldn't, but again, with no fire, no sword, no nothing, it's not the most comfortable play at all.
Yeah, trying to navigate some places like the Dark Maze and the road to Helmasaur King himself without something to lamppost you in the dark is not great. But it is doable, and Shady is going to go for it here. And honestly, decent chances he pulls a lamp or a fire rod here anyways.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, there probably is something in pod. Lamp is always in pod lately. And yeah, Mclagging going to check in the last check in the mountain. I mean, the sword always feels nice at least, because even if there's another sword around, it does mean you're going to get Master Sword or even potentially Temper Sword earlier. So it's probably one of the better finds. And yeah, that's the only thing we're going to find here.
It's kind of impressive for all those items on the mountain. For the sword to be the only even slight worth there. I'm curious now, saving to the Sanctuary indicates he's probably going to go to the Village of Outcasts here, and we'll finally see that region. But, sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, sorry. With no item available I mean, no items progression in Eastern, there probably should be here. I mean, I was maybe expecting a bow-locked pod, but it's not the case, so I've got a feeling there should be progression here for sure.
Yeah, I think we're basically at the point where it's got to be something in either the village area or Palace of Darkness, and probably both with how many items we still need. There is this magic bat check we've had available for a while too that both runners have just kind of been putting off.
Yeah, and it's the smart play to go up before going probably to the Village of Outcasts for sure. I mean, maybe you can hope for a mirror there and do it much quicker, but I mean, it could be risky, and when are you going to come back? And yeah, it's just 50 rupees.
Yep, which doesn't feel great having come all this way away from the portal to check that, but he doesn't ever have to come back for it later, and honestly, with Pendant Swamp, Mirror is not guaranteed this seed. It's likely, but it's not guaranteed.
Oh, we did get a bottle as well.
Oh, did we? I'm trying to remember where that was.
Yeah.
I know we saw the one on Lumberjack, but I don't remember where we picked up a bottle.
Yeah, me neither. And I was gonna just comment again on that Lumberjack bottle because I thought maybe it could be important, but yeah.
The chat's saying that it might have been the old man on Death Mountain. Which would have, I mean, obviously it didn't give anything to Mclagging as a fetch quest, but still nice to have.
Yeah, and he could at least route it pretty nicely with the magic bat and then going into Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, it does make that check just a bit better before you go into the Dark World, just having one thing to combine it with. And I think, is that Red Rupee on Shadyforce's side the first item we've seen in pod, I think?
Yeah, I think so. If we have 2 keys at this point, it has to be.
Yeah, there's always tons of keys in the front of pod, but seeing just that Red Rupee for items in the front doesn't really feel good. But he is going to be headed on to the back here. And there's a lot here that's out of logic. He's just got the one chest in the 4 turtle room and the harmless hellway that are actually in logic for him here without a fire source and a lamp. But it's still 2 more checks to potentially pull either of those items. Or just go make the checks out of logic. He can navigate the dark rooms. This one in particular is not especially difficult even without a sword.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and we see another item, just bombs over there.
Yeah, I didn't catch what the first check was, but I'm guessing it was probably just a dungeon item, if he didn't say anything.
Oh, a key.
Oh. Oh yeah, he's got 2 keys now, so yeah, that makes sense. So let's see how he approaches the dark maze. Okay, he's gonna carry this Samaria block to as an alternative to a sword to give him a rough indicator of where he is.
Yeah, and I mean, hard drop there. As long as he doesn't lose much more life, he should be okay. And I mean, a death warp now is going to be okay after the big chest, but yeah, the Longo Fire can get really uncomfortable.
Yep. On Mclagging's side, we saw some Titansmiths in the Skullwoods big chest, so that opens up a couple things for him. He can go back to the mountain for some additional checks there. And he can escort the Smith, do hammer pegs, and escort the purple chest if he really wants to.
Yeah, those checks are for sure going to be uncomfortable without a mirror, but right now in logic, I think that's the only thing that Titan Mid's open for us.
Yeah, because Mountain's not in logic without either flute or mirror. We don't have the boots for King's Tomb. Don't have the flippers for Ice Palace. And we don't have the flute for the Mire area, so yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, because maybe if we add bombos, like an out of logic Ice Palace would be an option, but with no fire, that's not even an option. So yeah, let's see if they decide to check. And we see a bottle there in pot. Unfortunately, nothing more for now.
It always feels bad to just do pod like that for basically nothing. Especially like just doing it without a great way to navigate the dark rooms is typically slower than having at least a sword or ideally a lamp to just not have to be worried about that at all.
Well, we might see bee strats in for the turtles. I mean, we just got a bottle with a bee, maybe?
I mean, anything helps when you're doing the fireless turtles without a sword. So, I'd gladly take the bee to help there.
Yeah, and Mclagging, meanwhile, decided to at least do the first 4 of Thieves Town. I don't think, like, doing the back right now, just getting those Titan mids, it's going to be what we're going to see. But, I mean, you can get it out of the way. You do have the hammer, but you can complete it 100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him continue on to the back here unless he pulls something good in one of these next 2 chests. Because he's starting to run dry on in-logic locations. Like, what's he got left? It's just pot, I think, right? Or he hasn't done the Zora area yet.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just pot and Smith chain and all of that. But
Yeah, because...
I mean, the lamp or the flute has to turn out soon.
Yep. He did pull a Master Sword, so that's 2 items front of Thieves Town so far. Did not see what was in that last chest, because unfortunately his frame rate has dropped a bit, but... Okay, he is death warping here.
Yeah, and meanwhile...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, bee strats.
V strats and bow strats combined. This is quite clever from shadyforce. I'm not sure that the efficiency he gains is going to be a time save compared to if Mclagging comes with even just his sword. But it's definitely very clever strats from him, and I do definitely appreciate seeing them. But he bails on it, so very unfortunate.
Yeah, and we see boots.
Okay, that must have been what was in the last chest of Thieves Town for Mclagging there. So pulling 3 items out of the front of Thieves Town, and it being a pendant, yeah, totally get not going to the back there. And then also, we do know actually from shadyforce's menu, it is just a map on Helmasaur King. So can go back and get that crystal whenever. The only real time lost is the time he spent walking, trying to walk back and do those turtles.
Yeah, that's at least something nice. Like you're not in no rush to go back to pod. And yeah, Shady's going to go now to the mountain, where he'll find at least a sword and not much else for now, probably.
Yeah, without those mitts, there's not really anything he can do that Mclagging didn't. But Mclagging side with those boots, he's gonna do this King's Tomb check. He'll do the Bonk Rocks, then he'll turn in the Smith, and we'll see where it goes from there. I guess the bug net is a Y item, but yeah.
Yeah, and at this, I mean, since we already know there's no items in pod, we are going to have to see some more progression. Like really, really soon by Mclagging.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be here. Yeah, there's progression. It actually only opens up the Zora checks, area checks in logic to him, and I guess we haven't seen Hobo either, have we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, without the mirror, that does not open ice for us. Without Bombos or the Fire Rod, it doesn't open ice. So it's still very limited progression.
So let's see. No, it's really uncomfortable. Mclagging, it's not gonna be it. And let's see.
I've got to imagine he's running back to the Dark World portal here and he's just going to pick up that purple chest. And then probably follow the flippers after that. Meanwhile, Shadyforce has picked up all of the worth that there is on the mountain besides that Hera crystal. But he's going to pull the rest since he does not know that.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I mean, like, because there was nothing in pod really.
Yeah, it's... Shadyforce made a really aggressive play to try to go there early without any sort of fire source to help with some of those tricky dark rooms, and he did well with the dark maze, I thought. But that turtle room is just very tricky, even under ideal, no fire circumstances, that room is difficult. But he was trying to do it without fire, without a sword, just a bee is his only real friend for it. And he pulled out some clever strats with that bow in Samaria, but it just didn't work out well for him. So, I mean, you can call it a routing error if you want to. Some of chat has been saying that. But at the end of the day, he did still get all 5 items out of it. So it's not the biggest time loss in the world for him. It's just a matter of going back to the boss.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have been worse for sure. And I mean, it's not an easy play at all. I probably guess he was hoping for some items to be in pod, something that could help him. I mean, we were hoping for a lamp or a fire rod, but unfortunately there just wasn't anything. And we do see an ice rod there over there in purple chest, which obviously it's not going to help much right now, but we do get it out of the way.
Yep, does mean that we're not going to spend the entire endgame hunting for it, and then we've got Agina here as well, that a lot of runners like forgetting about for the first 40 minutes to an hour of a seed.
Oh.
And that's why a lot of runners don't like that check. That was available as soon as we got out of the castle.
Yeah, and the mountain has been in logic the whole game as well, so, I mean, that's nice.
Honestly, though, that just makes it that much more shocking that there was no progression on the Light World Mountain. Obviously, we still have to see what's on the dark side of the mountain, but I am actually now shocked that there was nothing in Paradox Caves, Hera, anywhere on the Light World Mountain except for that one sword. Like, that actually blows my mind.
Yeah, especially more being in logic for sure. Yeah, and well, we might have I mean, Mire could be available right now, even completable. Maybe not, with no fire source for the left side right now.
Yeah, like, The option to potentially have no fire Mire on the table is just crazy to me. Like, how often does that come up?
Yeah, for sure. It's strange. I mean, you were saying it was really, really crazy that there was no progression there. So maybe now in the dark side, since we have another 6 items available. And I mean, we could even potentially go into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, although with Mclagging taking this portal at the bottom of the mountain, he's not interested in Turtle Rock. If he was, he would have climbed Paradox Cave and checked if Quake opened Turtle Rock and done that. Without the Fire Rod, it's kind of a hit or miss thing, because you could sink a ton of time into Turtle Rock if the keys line up just right. You could get all the way to Laser Bridge with no Fire Rod, and that would just kind of feel bad if there was nothing there. But the mountain is up to 2 swords for us now.
Yeah, I mean, no progression, but at least 10% right now out of the mountain, which is really nice. Let's see Turtle Rock. It's gonna be Ether.
Okay, so was not going in there regardless for Mclagging side unless we pull both Ether and Mirror here. Which I guess is a bit of a relief.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah. Thanks, game.
Yeah,
That's
so
rude.
Hookshot Cave on fire today.
Like, that's actually just rude from the game here.
Yeah, and right now suddenly so many options open, especially for, I mean, in Mclagging's position, like we can go to Pod, we can go to Schoolwoods, we can go maybe to Mire, we can go to Ice Palace. And I mean, we are just like Ether and the Mire Medallion away from Go mode right now.
Yeah, with those fire source pulls off the mountain, yeah, suddenly we go from not a lot that we can clear to we can clear everything except Turtle Rock and maybe Mire. I'm kind of surprised that Mclagging isn't going straight there just to get that information in hand and confirm if he needs Bombos or if it's just going to be Ether.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like getting the information is probably the better option, but I mean, at one point, you do have to do Schoolwoods. I mean, you do have to do it. So you can say, like, I'm just going to do this, and maybe I get here, like, the Mire Medallion or something. And let's see what happens, because, I mean, Shady, if you see the stream right now, can appear that it's, like, extremely behind, and I mean, he's obviously a bit behind, but I think it's not that as much as it maybe appears, since he's just doing what Mclagging did a while ago, and he's already completed Pod, well, most of Pod, so, I mean, if he now gets a Titan mids inside of Schoolwoods as he should, and then gets the boots in Thieves Town, he's not going to be as behind as it maybe seems.
Yeah, as long as he makes his Village of Outcasts checks, then he will catch up very quickly in terms of the tracked items. Then it really comes down to, is Mclagging going to sink the time into Palace of Darkness for nothing to full clear that? Or is he going to find his go mode first and get to skip most of that dungeon? Big Key was in the back, so it's not the greatest go mode ever, but it at least wasn't in the Dark Maze or anything.
Yeah, well, and let's not forget about that flute in Nagina.
Oh yeah,
Required.
that's actually... Yeah, Mclagging got that because he had a really good time to check it with the purple chest turn-in. But actually, that purple chest turn-in is required too, so... It really is just, if Shadyforce does all of his Village of Outcasts area checks, and then he's thorough about going to Agina after turning in the purple chest, he will be in good shape. That was a wonderful moth fight from Mclagging there, for a single arrow.
Yep. And yes, Chad was saying, yeah, Mclagging, which a really good route. I mean, probably like the only good thing you could do maybe was skipping that first route to the mountain and going first for the tighter meats and the boots. But aside from that, it was really nice.
Yep, definitely nothing to complain or be sad about with Mclagging's route this seed. It's been on point the entire way. Now, where's he fluting to? Is it going to be to 5 or to 6? I don't really see anything else at this point for him. Okay. Oh, he hasn't actually checked the back of Sahasrara's closet, so he's going to do that first for the very quick 3 items. And then I'm going to guess he'll flute back to 5 if he's thinking about this instead of going to the Mire area. Actually, there is one more item we're missing for Go mode besides potentially just Ether. We don't have a way into Desert Palace, so that's going to be a mirror or a book we need.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, Desert access for Go mode seeds are some of the weirdest ones.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, what you probably want to see is the book as soon as possible because, like, if the mirror comes up, suddenly a lot of things you don't want to do open up. Like, I mean, mostly Swamp Palace, of course.
Yeah, obviously Swamp Palace, Pendant Swamp you would like to avoid if possible, but I think even more than that, the overworld locations that the mirror opens up are probably actually worse just because they're all so scattered across the map.
Yeah, and let's see, 'cause Shady got his meds. That's really nice. Let's see if he gets his boots now.
Yeah, I have to figure that he's going to do front 4 of Thieves Town here. Like, if nothing else, then just front 4 at least. And with 3 items in the front, it's going to be hard to go to the back, I think. But as long as he does that, he'll get his boots, he'll get his Master Sword, and that'll set him up really nicely to do the Smith Chain here, which will set him up really nicely to get his Flute, which will set him up nicely to go A, to Mire and check what that medallion is, and B, send him back to the mountain, where he'll get his 3rd sword as double fire sources. So it's just, as long as he's thorough with that Smith Chain, he will be in good shape here, and he's got a decent chunk of time to do it while Mclagging goes through pod.
Yeah, let's not forget that Shady, I mean, even though it's not very likely that Mclagging will go for now, I think, after going into pod right now, but Shady also checked the items in Eastern.
Yeah, I don't think Mclagging will pick Pendant Eastern at this point in the seed when he at least can go to Crystal Ice and full clear that with Icebreaker. But if Ice Palace turns up dry, I could see him choosing Eastern. But, I mean, there's still also just that Mire area check that's, at the very least, at the front of my mind as a viewer here. It just has me wondering, what is that medallion? Is it Quake? Is it Ether? Is it Bombos? Shadyforce got his boots and going. He is not checking Smith Chain.
Yeah. Shady probably going to the mountain right now?
Yeah, and that'll get him his fire
Nope.
source. No. He's going to do these boots checks right away. So King's Tomb, I believe, turned out to be a fetch quest leading to a bottle. That was the mushroom, I think. And the Bonk Rocks was the Flippers, which we don't really need because we can fake Flipper into Ice Palace and everywhere but Swamp. Oh, that was a bug net, not a mushroom, sorry. But that Smith Chain is critical this seed.
Oh yeah, because it also has the ice round. Yeah, kind of forgot about that. Yeah, and the mushroom was in Hammerpex, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so that's ultimately just a bottle in disguise, but it's still... it's not nothing. Yeah, I think this is going to be the mountain for Shadyforce, where he will be rewarded with double fire sources.
Yeah, which, I mean,
That saying that
it's
I'm
really...
wrong again and Shroom leads to Red Boomerang. I'm sorry. I'm Trying to think, where did Mclagging get that second bottle then? I am a crazy person tonight. I'm sorry.
Thing and no, where was it? I'm not sure right now. I was gonna say maybe the fire sources for Shady. I mean, they're obviously gonna be good, but the same way, it's getting him further away from both the Smith chain, and the flute. With he's both gonna need for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, it could pull him into Ice Palace, which could be interesting if, like, Mire is Bombos and Bombos is in there. But yeah, keeping him away from the Smith chain means keeping him away from the flute in addition to the ice rod, so he has to do it at some point.
Yeah, Mclagging already taking that warp. Obviously, is going to be with a much nicer turtle rooms and all the back of pod.
Yeah, like in a lot of these dark rooms, a lot of these runners are very skilled at handling them without a lamp, very well practiced at them. But in the turtle room in particular in the back here, the value of being able to see really can't be understated just because those turtles move in really silly ways.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, temper sword versus swordless. It's a pretty nice thing to have.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be a massive advantage as well. Especially because we see Mclagging here missing one heart means no sword beams. Means that those tempered sword swings are guaranteed to kill a turtle in one hit.
Yeah, and Shady looking likely to do a Schoolwoods play right now.
Yeah, finishing Skull Woods here makes sense. There is still one item to be had, and it's kind of... There's not really much you're going to combine with it. So... And it's just a question, will he save and quit afterwards like Mclagging did, or will he leverage it into the Smith chain after?
Yeah, because at this point it's either all that on the overworld or Ice Palace, I believe.
Yeah, and Ice Palace could still be really good for Shady Force. We are missing a desert entry, we are missing an ether, and we are potentially missing a Mire medallion. So if we find something that just makes... Like, if we find the mirror, that makes the Smith chain a fair bit more appealing to Shady Force. That could pull him in all the right directions. As long as he doesn't follow it into Swamp for potentially nothing. But even then, could follow it into Swamp and get an ether out of there. We don't know yet.
Yeah, totally. I feel that maybe something like that, if the seed opens a bit more and the required items are not just in a straight line to the finish, it's probably what Shady needs right now to save some time on Mclagging.
Yeah, Mclagging fluting here. If he flutes to 8, then we... Okay. He is going to Ice Palace here. So he is following pretty much the natural route here, I think. I do think it would be a very popular play here to check Misery Mire in his shoes just to know what that medallion is, but he doesn't care. So if you're rooting for Shady Force here, you definitely want to see something off the beaten path from him, with Ice Palace being empty here. But that was pretty solid Mothula kill from Shady Force there. Again, only rewarded with the single arrow and the crystal, but is a fight that he had to do, and we'll see what he does next.
Yeah, and with the save and quit there, I feel it's gonna be Ice. which, I mean, after ice, if it was empty, well, it can't really be empty at this point. Well, we do still have the Mire area, yeah.
Yep, we've got the Mire area. We've got one item in the back of Thieves Town. And we've got the Hobo, I think, that Shady Force is going for.
Well, I mean, this could be something.
Yeah, this being something I think would actually be pretty good for Shady Force, just because Mclagging has not checked it yet, and honestly, there are a lot of worlds where he doesn't after coming out of Ice Palace, especially if he does find some other kind of progression here. But it's just a triple bomb.
Yeah, I mean, I feel at this point, either you go, like, right now after going into Ice Palace, or you're probably not going to go at any point.
Yeah, and with it being nothing, we now know that not going at any point is a legitimate option that will allow Mclagging to complete the seed. But it is kind of a dangerous one as well because he doesn't know that it's nothing. But we do have both runners here in Ice Palace now. Mclagging, having been in there for a fair bit longer, is a bit ahead of the route. We'll be seeing all the checks ahead of Shady Force here.
Yeah, going to go just north in the block room and going to play it safe, straight going into Ice Tea.
Yeah, I think we're left with a mystery item there in Ice Tea. Wasn't a small key because Mclagging doesn't have any. Could have been anything else though. Okay, so I guess unfortunately that makes two checks. We're going to be seeing first on Shady Force's side unless we spot something in Mclagging's menu. Although actually the Freezor chest was a small key. He had one after that check. I don't know what was in the big chest though.
Yeah, okay, so Ice Palace is going to be a bit of a mystery for now. Let's see what the fish tells us.
We do have both the map and the compass, and I think that extra small key means that Cold Stare will have an item. So that is something. Got Cold Stare in a corner there and not letting him out. Very well done.
Yeah, very nice going for the slash strat there. Pretty nice.
Yeah, just for a pile of rupees though, so I think one item between Iced Tea and the big chest. And I'm thinking that it probably wasn't anything.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, well, it's not a mirror.
Yeah, so where does Mclagging go now? Yeah, we're seeing Heart Piece there in Ice Tea, so yeah, nothing there in Ice. And Mire is really pretty close to the last location left here. Mclagging checking the ledge item. Can't reach it without a mirror or a book, but it is nothing.
Yeah, just getting out of the way. And let's see our info, finally. Oh my god, okay.
I did not catch that. But there's Ether. Okay. And actually, with Mclagging running out instead of saving and quitting, I'm guessing that was either Ether or Quake on the Mire entry. Yeah, Ether with the key under the mat, so Mclagging is desert access away from go mode. That is either the mirror or the book. One of those will suffice.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, probably in Turtle Rock?
Probably in Turtle Rock, but it would be really great if it were in Mire and we could just do Turtle Rock last. Also, shadyforce doing just as good of a job keeping Cold Stare in a corner there as Mclagging did. Very well done on both runners' side.
Yeah, really great fight for both, and yeah, Swamp is completely dead at this point, and a lot more part of the overworld as well right now.
Yep, can't be any of those mirror checks. Of course, it's going to be a God Mire when we're not in go mode, but so it goes.
Yeah, and Mclagging taking it for sure. I mean, I think it's the better option right now. Let's see if he tries to go back inside.
Yeah, I think he probably will, especially... Well, that is one item. So if Vitreous drops the other, we're not coming back inside. Although chat's raising a really good point here. There is basically no chance at this point that shadyforce goes into Turtle Rock without the Ice Rod. Because Ether is behind the flute, and that Ice Rod being in purple chest, fluted Agina, I don't really see many chances for him to get to Agina without purple chest at this point, even mirrorless. So yeah, I think that's actually pretty good for Shady, just because it means that's not a rabbit hole he can fall down. But if our desert access is in Turtle Rock, like it's looking increasingly likely to be, then don't think it's going to save him here.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice for him for sure. Let's see Mclagging right now with Vitreous. Should be a pretty nice fight with that Temper Sword, and yeah, got it with the spins. I mean, we could see something like really crazy, like, I don't know, Book in Spike Cave, something like that, and that could take you maybe to Desert and Agina, but yeah, it seems really unlikely. And yeah, Mclagging there getting their 6th crystal. No, 5th, sorry.
Yeah. Still has to actually clear Turtle Rock, which I have to imagine is going to be the next play. Oh, not actually going into Mire, so taking the God Mire, taking the one item, knowing that there are 2 potential items he can find that either one will work, and he has taken that gamble. So that is another opening here for shadyforce if he plays thorough once he gets that flute and he goes back into Mire, and that's a book. With a mirror in Ganon's tower, or the other way around, then that's something that, who knows when Mclagging will go back to that. But at the same time, there are a lot of other items in the world still, mostly in Turtle Rock, but still a few.
Yeah, at this point, Turtle Rock obviously seems like the really easier play to do, and yeah, it's really where like all of the items we've been getting along the way are taking us. With that Ether in well behind that, well, the flute really was available really soon.
Yeah,
which was quite funny.
We didn't see it until the 40-minute side on until the 40-minute mark on Mclagging's side, and obviously still have not seen it on shadyforce's side. But that was a Sphere 1 flute. And it led to both fire sources on the mountain. It led to Ether in the Mire shed. But all of that was mislocked. Which I guess at this point doesn't really mean any much, but still a little interesting.
Yep. Totally. And Shady, I think, going with the Pyramid and Catfish play right now.
Yeah, Mclagging did these checks super early and got nothing out of them, but shadyforce has not. And this is really the best time to do them. Like, he is never going to be closer to either of them at this point for the rest of the seed.
Yeah, I mean, you've already done Sora. Really no reason to just delay a little bit more. And yeah, I think at this point after this, we do have to go for Smith Chain, I believe. Well, or Thieves Town, but Or Agina for the flute, of course.
Yeah, I think after these checks, Shady will be down to just Smith area, Thieves Town, and Agina. Which, even mirrorless, I would really expect him to do Smith's first and just run the purple chest over so that he can do Agina afterwards. Just because that's the general high efficiency play, but if he's feeling desperate and he's not thinking anything on Smith, we could see it.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, if you feel a little bit bad for it, you can just go away for it. It doesn't seem like it going for the sanctuary safe and quit, fortunately. Because, yeah, if that flute took him to the ether, to the mountain, to Turtle Rock, that could be absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, because at this point we know the ice shot is available. Good news for him is he's going to the village here. So this is going to look like Smith, because I don't think you would choose back of Thieves Town for one item and a pendant over Agina. And chat's asking about Turtle Rock Big Key because Mclagging did unfortunately lag a bit in the Chain Chomp room, and yeah, the Turtle Rock Big Key was the first thing he checked on the left side of the main area. I don't remember what his key count was when he entered Chain Chomps to know if that was guaranteed small key or not. But we do know now that the lava chest was not a small key, because he didn't have one when he opened the chest and still does not have one.
Yeah, so we are probably going to see one in the big chest. Not for sure, but we should see that check. We won't see Mimic Cave, that's for sure. And yeah, we're going to see that Smith Chain.
Okay, so this is good for Shadyforce as long as he sees it all the way through. Although, where's he going? Oh, he's gonna do the flipper here into the whirlpool to turn that mushroom in, and then turn in the Smith from there. I forgot about the mushroom for a second. Was really worried he was going to take the Smith to Agina, which would be like, I don't understand that, but it wasn't what he was doing, which is good.
Oh,
That's saying Mclagging got the book in that,
yeah.
presumably in the lava chest. So in that case, that is going to be go mode for Mclagging.
Yeah. Like lagging about, I don't know, 1:6:30, something like that. So yeah, pretty good time for go mode for sure, and just having to finish Turtle Rock and then go into Eastern. Desert, sorry.
Yep. And Desert's going to be a very quick big key hunt, unless it's vanilla, in which case you just rage very slightly. Because even with a vanilla big key, Desert's not a long dungeon.
Yeah, and we are going to have to see Laser Bridge, even if it's only one chest. Let's see if we just see the full of it. I mean, we wouldn't really mind a mirror at this point once we are in go mode. But yeah, being there, you just go with it, having tempered.
Yep, having tempered, knowing that we are not going to find half magic, because that's on the library. Both runners saw that at the beginning and just never came back with the boots, which half magic's a luxury item. You don't really want to spend the time for that when you've got the lamp and the tempered sword in hand. But here's going to be Trinex fight for Mclag, and there are a couple different strategies you can go for with the Tempered Sword. Looks like he's not trying to get behind Trinex for this one though, which perfectly fine. I don't think that one actually saves any real time.
Yeah, I think it can save you a small amount of time sometimes if you manage to hit it a bit earlier, but yeah, really, really small.
Yeah, and I mean, with a one cycle on the first phase and a quick kill on the second, there's really not any time to be saved.
And yeah, Shady, by the way, going into Thieves Town before doing the purple chest. Yeah.
I kind of see it one item versus one item. And he can death warp out of here and do the purple chest when this turns out to be nothing. But is unfortunate because it's depending on how deep, like if the item's on blind, then this is a huge investment. If the item's here in the attic, it's still definitely an investment, but it's not that big. But it's definitely not time that he can afford to give up when his opponent's already in go mode.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, I feel probably he feels like a more behind even that he is because of that death at pod. I mean, it wasn't the worst time in the end, but it obviously does feel very bad. So maybe that's like, maybe you can try to just go into Thieves Town and try to see if something lost was just there all along. Unfortunately, it's in Nagina.
Yep. Like between his aggressive attempt at playing pod early with no fire, no sword, and the Eastern Palace dip before that, I can totally understand shadyforce feeling like he's not in a good position right now. As we see here that, yeah, Desert Palace Big Key going to be vanilla. Feels a little bad. Or wait, no. What's he looking for then? Did he just not check the torch? I don't even remember.
Yeah, probably seems like that. Sometimes you just find that key and take it right.
Yeah, in that case, a bit unfortunate that he checked the vanilla big key chest for the compass when the big key was sitting right here. shadyforce contemplating the save and quit, but deciding not to, which is good because that signals he's going to do purple chest next. So, delivers blind and takes it though. Now, where's he gonna go next?
Well, it's in the Dark World.
This has to be Agina. There's nowhere else for him in this region.
Yeah, and this is really bad for Shady, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah, because this means that Shady's going to wind up just on an Ice Rod hunt. And he's going to just full clear the game. Well, if Mire's in Ganon's tower, he cannot full clear. He can't get into Swamp, so that's something. But he's going to full clear basically everything that the game allows him to pre-GT, looking for that Ice Rod that we know is in the purple chest. But on the bright side, he will get his flute. He can keep making progress in the seed. He can go to Mire, do that.
Yeah, and get the ether. Well, it's both for both, yeah.
Yeah. So it's... I mean, we know that it's not really what he wants to complete the seed as fast as possible. Just because that Ice Rod hunt is going to haunt him for a little bit. But it is something that does allow him to keep progressing. Meanwhile, Mclagging almost entirely empties his magic bar into the land mole is there, but gets a good quick kill on him. And that's going to be 7 crystals for him, so he's going to be on his way up to Ganon's tower.
Yep. We're going up to the Ganon tower, so please everyone in chat, we don't have the bot available right now, so we're just gonna have to think about even more imaginary internet points, and yeah, one number between 1 and 22 where you think the big key can be.
Yep. It can be anywhere in the 22 checks in the basement. And we'll see. I'm mostly interested in what route Mclagging takes through Ganon's tower here, just because I think if this tournament has proved one thing, it's that Ganon's tower routing is more metagaming than anything.
Yeah, I think at this point in Mclagging's feed, you have to feel pretty decently good about your routing.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to route this seed the way Mclagging did and feel bad about it. Like, you might feel that, no, your opponent did the same thing you did because you think the plays you made are obvious, so he's right on your tail, maybe slightly ahead if you think he has execution advantage. But I don't really think there's a way he feels bad about his routing in the seed.
Yeah, and talking about GT routing, we're going to see mirrorless GT, which is a real pain to route.
Okay, so what I want to see from Mclagging here, considering no mirror, I want to see him go Stalfos room into left side. Although, actually, no, that doesn't really work without a mirror. Or, I mean, I meant Stalfos room into right side and just go all the way down the right. But that's hard to do without a mirror because you can't really death warp conveniently on 11 hearts either.
Yeah, I mean, you can go like up to the big chest after ice armors and just go to the left side from there. I mean,
Yeah.
probably the death warp is quicker, but I mean, that is a route. But yeah, we don't have any keys on the right side, so it seems we're going full left side with a more standard route.
Yeah, mostly I want to see somebody continue through the Ganon's Tower basement after the Compass Room and from there to Ice Armos, just because you so rarely see that, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, it's very likely we'll just see the mirror here right now.
Oh yeah, since we've seen Thieves Town and Eastern Palace items, it is incredibly likely that the mirror is just here in Ganon's Tower, kind of like that Bombos medallion was.
Yeah, and Shady taking that got Mire as well.
Yeah, did he hookshot over to the bridge room? I was looking at Mclagging's checks and didn't notice.
I think he did. He did do it earlier, but I think he did open the chest.
Okay, that's good at least, because that means at least he's getting one item if he chooses not to come back in. But since he's still hunting for Ice Trod and Desert Access, kind of expect him to, because he needs 2 items instead of just 1.
Yeah, and at this point, we're really hoping the mirror is not the other item in Mire.
Yeah, that would be the biggest of rabbit holes for shadyforce at this point. But we're 9 checks down in Ganon's Tower, coming up on the randomizer room for the 10th and beyond. shadyforce has killed Vitreous very well. And that's going to be his 5th crystal.
Yeah, and Mclagging getting that health refill, that fire shield, but no mirror, no big key. So we keep going up to ice, well, Bob's chest and then ice armors.
Yep. And shadyforce not going back into Mire. Looks like he's going for Turtle Rock here, I think. Yep.
Yeah, and it's absolutely understandable now, the play. I mean, you probably feel a bit behind. You just found it there, and at this point, you just have to hope it's in Turtle Rock.
Yeah. It's like, at this point, the only items he really has left are the purple chest and inside Turtle Rock. So you're looking at worst case scenario, 4-1 is your item counts. So there's dead Ice Armos on Mclagging's side. And no big key. So we're going to the right side, which we were not allowed to do earlier because there was no small key in the Hope Room.
Yeah, and we're probably not going to see Dark Magician without Mirror for sure. So yeah, this route in GT was pretty much mandatory, I think. And yeah, going this vanilla intended route through GT, I guess.
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered what was intended here in Ganon's Tower. Just because there are multiple ways, and just if the developers favored one over the other. But I don't know. I never really actually liked this dungeon design because of that. But Mclagging getting grabbed there. Go back to start. Do it again.
Yeah, they probably wanted to give it like a more open feeling or something. I do think like the right side is clearly, especially if you don't have like safeties or fully understand them, that room with the spikes and the falling bridge can be a little bit tough. But maybe it would make a little bit more sense if it was clearly quicker or something.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing... It's been a while since I've checked on this, so I might be misremembering, but I feel like the only real issue with taking that route from a speed perspective is the key layout doesn't make it at all convenient. Like, you'd have to go left, then go all the way down through the right, which is slower if you have to go left to begin with than just going down the left. Especially with all of the chests that you can skip in vanilla. Because vanilla Hope Room does not have a small key in it, from what I recall.
I don't think so. You don't see it for sure. I mean, I'm sure it's the fastest route. I mean, I'm sure people have more than timed it. Obviously, left side is the way you go. And there it's 21, just before tile room. And a nice death warp.
Yep. Has to take that death warp there without the mirror so that he can get back. Really interesting. Oh, we did see the mirror in that room too. I saw it when he was quick swapping over. So I guess probably wanted a health refill. I was not paying attention to his health count there.
Yeah, and maybe a powder there? Talking of health refills could have been nice if you just want to take it after a mirror.
Yeah. At the very least, he'll be able to get the health refill at the very top with the powder, but I'm not sure. Maybe he was just planning on the death warp from the start, so his health was already super low, and even when he pulled the mirror, he just took it.
Yeah, probably. And I'm not sure if we have any safeties in the bottles.
I think Mclagging bought potions when he turned in that mushroom.
Oh, cool, great.
I know one of them did. I just can't remember if it was Mclagging or Shadyforce, which one it was.
Okay, and Shady, unfortunately takes a death there. Oh, it does have a fairy, and Shady that does find the book, unfortunately not in go mode yet, still looking for that ice drop.
Yep, and unfortunately for him, we know that it's on mirrorless purple chest with mirror now confirmed in Ganon's tower. So I guess the bright side here for Shady is that he can't get pulled into Swamp Palace or those just isolated overworld mirror checks, but still got everything else kind of on the table. Although I'm trying to think what he's got after Turtle Rock, and nothing's really coming to mind here.
Yeah, I mean, well, he would have like the Ether Tablet and Desert Palace. So in his mind, maybe it could be a double dip required in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I think once he finds that it's not on Laser Bridge there, that's probably what he's going to be thinking. Of course, no mirror and him being in the Dark World means that Ether Tablet is an incredibly inconvenient check for him right now.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, I feel like if you're Shady, you're hoping for like something really dumb, like the mirror being behind that book, and then the ice rod being in some really awful place. Because if it's in the only other place you haven't checked at this point, you know it's going to be bad since the double dip in Turtle Rock was never required.
Yeah. Although while he's going through this, can I just comment on the quality of Shadyforce's play here? Because obviously the routing this seed has not paid off for him at all, and that has set him incredibly far behind. But aside from the Palace of Darkness early on, just a little bit of mishap there with the Dark Turtles, he's been playing quite well, I've felt like. Especially his boss fights have been pretty solid across the board. So the seed didn't pay out for him in terms of the way he routed it. But can absolutely see at least why he's here still.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. I mean, there was really some nice bosses, and as well, I mean, the execution in pod was quite well in the maze and everything. It's a shame the basement so much. And I mean, again, I think the shame more than the death in pod was the fact that there was nothing in pod, to be honest. Which at that point, being completable, it was a really brave and good play, I feel. Obviously, with all the fire and how the seed turned out, it was unfortunate. But yeah, shady execution-wise, I feel, except for that unfortunate Darkman, played it really well.
Yeah, of course, Mclagging's execution has also been very on point this seed in pretty much the same ways as Shady. We did see that triple on the first cycle of Aga 2 there, but led into a 0 on the second, and the blue ball means he couldn't triple the third. Oh, must have only counted as a double on the first phase. But regardless, that's Aga 2 down. Can't get too sad about 4 cycles. I guess the 0 kinda doesn't really help, but so it goes.
Yeah. And it was not even only pod. Let's not forget, like, Eastern, Zoran, a ton of stuff. It was pretty much all empty, and just Mclagging kept founding all of that. Yeah, and meanwhile, Mclagging just going into Ganon, which has math for us, which is even harder than Ganon, I feel.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, you got the Trident spin. I think he's in good shape here, especially, yeah, Ganon in phase 2 in a corner like that. Mclagging just gonna get those spins off. Hook shot to the torch and go.
Yeah, even if you don't get the 1+1, which is ideal over there, if you get the nice position with a free tile, it's just a really nice phase 2, even though.
Yep. And already on the third here, Ganon jumping around, knocking some floor tiles out. We'll be lighting a torch in a second here. And chat's asking about the mirror. That turned out to be on the right side of Ganon's tower, with no small key in Hope Room. So just one of the last possible checks there. Now Mclagging just gotta light this torch. Yeah, spamming the lamp out there. And just needs 10 more spins on Ganon there.
Yeah, getting that nice torch glitch, always nice, playing it safe, and now going for triples with the fire rod. Really nice.
Yep. I think if he's got his triple here, then it should just be 2 more cycles. Shadyforce, we do see now, is in the back of Desert there. Presumably cleared out all of Turtle Rock that he could, but could not kill a Trinex with no Ice Rod. So, and unfortunately we know nothing to be found for him in Desert here, but that's Ganon down for Mclagging.
Yep, GG's in the chat, please, for Mclagging. That he wins the first game in the series in the first round of the brackets.
Yep, then crosses the bridge with a time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 26 seconds.
Yeah, a really nice game for him. Execution and routing wise, I think everything went really well for him, and yeah, he's gonna feel quite happy towards finishing this round. But well, I think Shady doesn't have to feel that bad at all. And I mean, unfortunately, I guess unless that part, I feel everything was played quite well by him.
Yeah, and just mirrorless purple chest is... it's a gross check. I'm not going to mince words with that one.
Yeah, Nagina, which by itself, it's really gross as well.
Yeah, and we are joined by Mclagging here, so GG, congratulations.
Hey, thank you, GG.
So yeah, I mean, this seed, I don't think you've got really much to be unhappy about, do you?
It surprisingly worked out well with how bad that flute and ice rod was. When I found both of those, like, oh my god.
Yeah. Obviously, we're seeing on Shady's side here, it didn't turn out nearly that nicely for him, unfortunately.
Both
which,
those locations and no mirror until GT is just, those are two hard things to check. When I found the flute, I was worried because could have got that at the beginning of the seed. But I knew that ice rod was going to be a hard one to go for because normally I put off purple chest, but it worked out this time.
yeah, and we do have Shady Force did play the seed for another couple minutes after your finish. Got his 6 crystal and then forfeited the race, so that will conclude that. We'll see if he wants to join us. But yeah, I mean, this seed was just massively open super early here. And we saw both of you guys go in just totally different directions out the gate. I know you were talking about it in the race time room, but
yeah,
you took a more conventional Dark World route and then up the mountain. Shady Force went straight to pod.
I had thought about doing that too. I was like, I really would want a sword or a fire source just to be safe to make it through there.
Yeah, and it was a really aggressive play. He was handling it well. He had some pretty clever strats with the bow and the Samaria for that turtle room. It just went wrong side up for him, unfortunately, and then all of those checks in the area just really, really surprisingly didn't pay out. But
Yeah, that whole area was, for whatever reason, just barren. Which is surprising considering we had all of it open at the start of the seed.
yeah, and we do have Shady Force with us now, so GG's. And I do just want to say that I am as surprised as anybody that a lot of those decisions you made early didn't pay out. So I do want to express my condolences there because you don't see that very often, it feels like, in Rando.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going? GG.
GG.
Mclagging. Yeah, it didn't go very well for me. I made bad decisions. I deserved to lose.
Yeah, and I mean, it happens.
But I also got very
sometimes.
unlucky as well. I think I got somewhat unlucky with some things, but I also made some bad decisions as well. So.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes that happens in Rando. I did like the aggressive pod play until it went wrong side
It
up.
wasn't even that aggressive because I was going to go straight to pod, but I decided no, I want to get some sort of nice safety item. So I went to the Zora area, and then I went to Saha's closet, and then I had no money left, so I went into Eastern, and then I went into pod. And the only thing I got that helps me in the dark room in pod is a bloody bee in a bottle, and he didn't even last that long. He wasn't even a gold bee.
Yeah. So I guess it's, in my view, I guess it's more about sticking to the pod play after that, which, like I said, I saw you were in chat. I'm not sure if you heard me say it, but I liked the strats you were pulling out there. I was really hoping it would go. But
Yeah, I kind of gave up because I wasn't going to get through the last room even if I killed the last turtle. So.
yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to say, even though Eastern and Pod, I mean, in hindsight, obviously feel like the worst decisions. I mean, in the end, like going into Fire Rodless, Coldwood, and Thieves Town, when it's empty, it also feels terrible. So I don't really feel it was like that bad. I mean, with how the seed play out, you really see it that way, but then you see someone just avoid Pendant Thieves Town the whole game, and it turns out, and you think, oh, this is the strat now, I think. I don't think it was necessarily such a bad decisions.
Yeah, I think the main mistake I made was not realizing that flute had to be at Agina, and I should have known that. When the lamp is on Detmountain, there's only a certain number of places the flute can be, and I kind of eliminated all of them fairly quickly. So I should have known the flute was there and maybe not gone back into Thieves Town, or maybe not done some of the other dumb checks. But in the end, I don't think it mattered what I did because there was no way I'm getting that ice rod. So I think even if I routed the seed much better, I still don't think I'll route it as well as Mclagging did in this one. So I think this is just bad layout maybe for me, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. It's like, Mclagging, you took that purple chest. Like, you got the boots, you did the smith, you did the purple chest immediately after, and that led you pretty much right there. And everything was just kind of in order after that, it felt like.
Yeah, once I did that, most of it just fell into place. I debated not doing the Smith because I still needed to do flipper checks. I had some other dungeons to do. It was like, if I didn't do it then, I was going to put it off to the very end, and I'm glad I didn't do that. So it just got a little bit lucky on that one.
Yeah. So I do see on the schedule you guys have game 2 tomorrow, same time as it started today. Looking forward to seeing how that one plays out.
Yeah, it should be fun. Chance for revenge. Maybe force a nice early Saturday match for game 3, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's most of what I wanted to touch on, discuss with this seed. Mclagging, do you have anything else that you wanted to ask about while we were here?
Yeah, maybe I was just thinking, if maybe Mclagging, did you ever like thought about going for the Mire info before or not? Because we about it for a while, like.
Yeah, I did. I was like, well, we don't have no mirror. I have to save and quit again. It's like, we already had Kane. It's like, I'm going to do Ice and then maybe check Mire. And then, of course, Ether is just sitting there on the doorstep, and I could have had that a while ago.
Yeah, I guess the good news is that with Icebreaker, full clearing Mire is not quite the chore it used to be. It is still a bit of a time commitment compared to go moding it, but definitely could have been worse.
And it was a nice Mire setup too, because the big key was right away. Then the one item was on the bridge, so I only left one. It's like mirror book has to be in Turtle Rocks. Turtle Rock always has something, so luckily the book was in there.
Yeah, there's no way it's worth going and searching all of Mire for the second item in that kind of layout. Maybe I should have to try and vary the play, because I pretty much know the normal plays just to get the one item and leave. So maybe I should have looked for the other item to try and make a comeback.
Yeah, it's just at that point, because viewers, we knew it already at that point, but I'm sure that in your perspective,
I knew I was 10 minutes behind at least. Like I knew the seed was long over. I had the race room up and I was waiting for the dot done for about 10 minutes. And the only reason it didn't come sooner, I thought, was because the ice shot wasn't in Turtle Rock.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I want to take a second here, run down the schedule for the rest of the night. Over on ALTTP Randomizer, we've got a match between Dante and Waterloo that started about 40 minutes ago, so that match currently in progress. On ALTTP Randomizer 2, starting in about 20 minutes at 8:10 p.m. Eastern, we've got Willard J. Bradley versus Shiloh Ninja. On SpeedGaming 5 at the same time, we've got Pika Pals versus CS Tutor. And that will actually close out the evening for us. So, still a couple really good and interesting things to check out here. But for now, I do want to give big shout outs to both the runners putting on the show here. There would be nothing without them, so give them Twitch follows. They're great, entertaining people. And then also big shout outs to the tracker White Wolfos, which making it pretty easy for us to talk about this seed here, keeping the trackers at the bottom of the screen lit up for everybody to be able to tell what's going on at a glance, ask where the ice rod was, ask where the flute was, and so on. And I think that will just about do it for us, so Matt, I'll leave last word to you.
Yeah, thank you a lot to everyone. Thank you to Red for commentating with me. It was really fun. Thank you for all the viewers for joining us. Thank you to SpeedGaming. Follow SpeedGaming as well. And thank you to all the tournament admins, which is really well. And it's been a pleasure playing as well, commentating. And thank you for everyone. And yeah, see you next matches. The bracket is picking really up, and yeah, the tournament is being a blast. So try to watch as many games as you want.
Yep. We will see you all some other match, everybody.